wouldn't protect his belongings from being looted. That thought spurred him to race to his cabin. Just as Adoniram finished stuffing his 3 Bibles, one in English, one in Hebrew, and one in Latin, and his fiancée's last letter to him, into a cloth bag, 2 French sailors burst into the cabin. Adoniram turned, shocked at how fast the French privateers had overtaken and overrun the packet. When he had left the deck, the French ship was at least 100 yards behind them. Now, apparently, the privateers had boarded the packet and taken complete control. With gestures, Adoniram was ordered up on deck. He was then herded with the rest of the British crew to the starboard side of the ship and forced to climb down a rope over the side and into a waiting longboat. Within minutes of reaching the French ship, Adoniram was thrown into the hold along with the packet's crew. The dark and dank hold was overcrowded. There was no food, water, or chamber pots. The only illumination was a dull shaft of sunlight that filtered down through the dusty air of the hold. Dark thoughts taunted Adoniram Judson as he sat in the overcrowded hold. He would never see New England again. It would be only a matter of time before the French privateers dumped him overboard, as they liked to do with their prisoners. Now he would never see East Asia. All his efforts to become a missionary had been in vain. He had given his all just to drown in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Hot tears rolled down Adoniram's cheeks. As a child growing up in Wenham, Massachusetts, this was not how he had imagined his life ending. Chapter 2. Puzzles. 9-year-old Adoniram Judson laid down the goose quill he had been writing with and picked up the bottle of sand. He shook the sand gently over the paper, blotting the ink. When the ink was dry, he carefully tipped the sand back into the bottle and folded the paper. He placed the paper in an envelope, sealed the envelope with wax, and quietly slipped out of the house. He smiled with relief as he rounded the big elm tree opposite the church and realized that for once his little sister Abigail had not followed him. Adoniram guessed she was probably playing with their baby sister Mary. As he walked along the dusty street, Adoniram felt the envelope in the pocket of his woolen pants. He was on a secret mission, a mission that he hoped would bring him fame. When he reached the general store, he walked purposefully up the 3 wooden steps that led to the door. He stopped at the top of the stairs to make sure no one from his father's congregation, other than the postmaster, was inside. Thankfully, only a farmer and his 2 children, whom Adoniram did not recognize, were in the store. Adoniram entered the store and walked to the back where the post office was located. He placed the envelope on the counter. "I would like to mail this to Boston, sir," he said politely. "Boston, eh? And what would a young man like you be wanting with someone in Boston?" quizzed the postmaster. After reading the address on the envelope, he added with a chuckle, "A newspaper editor, is it? Has something been happening around Wenham that I should know about?" He reached over and tousled Adoniram's curly, chestnut-brown hair. Adoniram felt himself blushing. He had not imagined he would have to explain himself to the postmaster. Just then, the door opened and several men entered the store. "You got any of that apple cider left, Jonah?" one of them asked in a booming voice. To Adoniram's relief, the postmaster took his attention off him. "Sure have. I'll be right with you," he said to the man, placing the letter on the back counter and smiling at Adoniram. "It's as good as sent, young man," he said. "Now be sure to give my regards to your father. He preached a mighty fine sermon last Sunday." Adoniram nodded politely and headed out the door into the early fall air. As he walked home, he hoped winter would not arrive too soon. The last 2 winters, 1795 and 1796, had been particularly harsh in Wenham. Although Adoniram liked to play in the snow, sometimes it had fallen so heavily he hadn't been able to get to Master Dodge's school. More than anything else, Adoniram loved going to school.